Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered! Today it's going to be a match between Best and Sharp here on Circuit Breakers. Bottom left-hand corner, it is the brown Terran player. His name is Sharp, a pro gamer from Korea who plays Terran and played Terran for Samsung Con. And in the top left-hand corner, it is the red Protoss player, Best, one of the best players of all time for Protoss. Alright, so it's going to be a PvT here on Circuit Breakers. Will we see carriers? I don't know. I haven't seen this, but if there are carriers in the thumbnail, then rest assured there will be carriers. I know how many people like carriers, and they don't show up very often, so try to put in the thumbnail so that people will know what's in this replay. So people keep asking, how come sometimes these nexuses and hatcheries and command centers glow because you pre-purchased the remastered client, and sometimes they don't. I'm like, I don't know. I have no idea. I always have that on unless I'm doing Carbot, so it's an excellent question. Anyway, PvT steer huff. PvT stuff here. PV here. What was I trying to say? I don't know. I'm having a mini stroke over here, but everything is totally cool. Totally cool. Sharp is going to throw down. Is he going to barracks or is he going to try to go for a command center here? That's definitely barracks. Okay, so barracks coming on in. Gateway back home for the Protoss. Both players are pretty happy to kind of sit on one base for a little bit, at least until they know what's going on the other side here. This is a 4-player map. As such, it is a little bit difficult to know what your opponent is up to at any given situation. In the early stages, you can try to scout, but you might go the wrong way, and then you're late anyway. And if you don't scout, then you might just die to something regardless. So, I mean, it's a 4-player maps are a terrible, terrible result for anyone to find themselves in. Anyway, yeah, definitely taking the gas over on the Protoss side of things. In the case we want to see the Cyber Core, yep, and probably some Dragoon pressure. On the other side, you really don't need it to defend gas to defend against that. You just need Marines and bunkers to start off, and then maybe get some gas and go for a tank later on. But for the time being, Protoss does actually scout on in, see what's up. One Racks expand fully in production here does give the Terran player a bit of an advantage on this side of things, and Cybernetics Core warping on in from the Protoss on the other side. Yeah, there's your gas. Wants to delay the gas if at all possible, but you know what? Might be able. Is trying here anyway. Again, late gas for the Terran means later tanks, which means the Dragoons have more time to try to kill the Terran player. And yeah, this SCV just pulls over, or basically takes over construction, and a Marine shows up, and the probe has to stop the shenanigans and gets the heck on out of there. So yeah, that's definitely Singularity Charge. What you gonna build after this, Best? Another barrack or another gateway would be good. An expansion to be pretty nice here too. I love that. Your opponent already has an expansion pretty much done at this stage, so I'm really confused actually. Is he supply blocked or no? He's doing okay on supply. Dragoon's gonna start moving out and try to get some stuff done, but it's only one Dragoon. There's not a second gateway here at all. Why? What are you doing, man? Zeta's probing up. He's probing up super hard is what he's doing. He's at 20 probes. By the way, new update to the client did give me access to the worker counts in replays. Oh, it's so nice. I can't even tell you how nice it is that that is happening. So many times I'm like, well, it looks like the probe count is higher than the SCV count, but hard to count because they're all stacked up like this. You can only select 12 units at a time, and it is gross, but so much better now. So much better. Are these defensive Dragoons with Singularity Charge? Best, what is happening right now? He's making another Dragoon, but he's really just buying time for the Terran player to get a factory up. And look, it's almost done. Machine shop coming in, and he's moving out. Okay, so this seems like a bit of delayed pressure here out of Best. Very strange. I mean, if this was a BSU style build, we would definitely see the Dragoons here earlier than this. They'd attack. Well, I guess, I don't know. Singularity Charge just finished. Maybe he was waiting for that before he moved down here. But he's going to go ahead, take down an SCV eventually. Somebody's going to kill this SCV. You got it. You got the kill. Someone else did all the work, but you got the credit. And yeah, going to go ahead and force more SCVs to come off the line to deal with this harassment. There's another SCV comes off the line, and another SCV is going to have to come off the line to handle that one too. So what I'm talking about. Really frustrating stuff, but until you have a tank out, you can't really do much about this. Tank is in production. happily mining from 2 bases, though, while the natural base for the Protoss is still warping in. So I'd say the Terran player is okay at this stage. He's losing mining time. He's losing resources, trying to keep this bunker alive, which is frustrating, but not the end of the world. I also don't see him going for the range upgrade for Marines here. He's not going to bother with it. Mech is going to be the order of the day, and that's all that's really going to matter. So tank out, siege mode just about done, and the harassment should find an end here as a 3rd base comes up behind this from Best, who's trying to compensate for the fact that he was having a hard time expanding there. He delayed his expansion, rather. And siege mode is done. Tank siege is up. And here we go. That's your notification. You got to get out, man. Ooh, can hit all 4 of those? That range is better than I thought. I didn't think I'd be able to get this one. Okay, so that's good. That is wonderful, wonderful stuff there. Meanwhile, Observatory coming on in. Wants detection as he recognizes that probably spider mines are in production right now. They are being researched. And vultures are coming in, so they're going to pick up those spider mines as soon as that research is done. Just having detection and clearing those out is the next stage of this matchup. New question about it. So natural base done, 3rd base just about to finish up now for the Protoss. Working on pretty standard things here. More Dragoons. I really don't see a tech switch into carriers at this stage of the game. He is making 3 gateways at a time. So pretty gateway heavy stuff. We haven't seen carriers in a while. I am remembering now. So there it is. 3rd base present, and barracks scouting around because we really don't need Marines anymore for anything. This has been a pretty darn standard opening for APBT. About as standard as it can possibly get, honestly. So holding the bridges here. Loving that, actually. And there's detection, too. So be careful, Vulture guys. You want to throw down your spider mines, but be careful. Detection exists. And there's range here. These Vulture trying to get stuff done over here at 3rd base. Nah, they get shoved away. And shoot away quite effectively. And spider mines do burrow, so they just move back. Just move back a little bit, take them down with the Dragoons, and call it good. Best is controlling pretty effectively here. I'm liking this. Vulture's coming on into the 3rd base again. Trying to kill some stuff. The Dragoons barely move. They're like, we can stand right here and shut you down, Vultures. You don't want to come in here. You want to stay alive. Just kidding. That one died. Vulture's back home. Or maybe that was just a spider mine that died. I think it might have just been a spider mine, to be honest with ya. To be entirely honest with ya. Does he have another observer? He's making... No. Just have the one for reals? Interesting. Is there one down here? There is one down here. So he has 2. He's using one for base defense, and then he's using one to scout about. 3rd base coming in from Sharp. Really no big surprises here. Going for an armory. Engineering bay in the mix there, too, for turrets in case drops are a concern. And they can be a concern for sure. Citadel of Adun warping in, going for those zealot legs. And if we're going to gateway try to deal with this Terran player, then that is the way to do it, man. That's the way to do it. Honestly, another base would not be amiss from Best here. The times we've seen Protoss players beat Terran in long macro-style games like this, it has been with a quick 4th and a quick 5th and a quick 6th and a ton of gateways and just tossing Dragoons into the tank lines over and over again. And sure, you're going to lose your Dragoons, but you're keeping the tank line low. Because once the tank count gets to a certain critical mass, you're in a huge amount of trouble. But if it never gets to that critical mass, you're going to have an easier time of it. So I'm going to try to unload something down here. Zealots, it would look like. He's thinking about it, but the army's in a pretty good position to shut this down. So he just moves on out because he doesn't have to move because... Well, he doesn't have to unload because there's nothing that can shoot up here. Is he going to... I don't know. He's kind of just forcing the army to move around a bit. While Dragoons are clearing out the spider mines leading into the Terran side of the base. Side of the map, rather. Is he going to dark back in? He's thinking about it. Yeah. Tanks firing on some of these Dragoons that are, again, clearing out spider mines. Just on mine clearing duties. Arbiter Tribunal. Coming up really nicely here. Alright, so this is probably an unload position, yeah? No? Alright, cool. I guess you just let that base finish. I don't think he knew that was there. He exited this way and was like, interesting. Meanwhile, do we have Goliaths? We do have some Goliaths, recognizing the threat that those dropships can be, recognizing the threat that Arbiters are. Working on attack upgrades for ground units is our Protoss friend, and vehicle attack coming on in from the Terran. Yeah, so 4th base happily running here. Really no threat whatsoever from Best to do anything about it. Making 3 Dragoons at a time, making 4 probes at a time. Really trying to get that economy up and running to the best of his ability. And both players just having a pretty good time here. 71 probes to 59 SCVs. Best is definitely up in overall supply, but the tanks are the great equalizer. Trying to come in here and kill him with your bigger army will die to the number of tanks that are on the ground, especially as the upgrades start coming on in, as +1 is very close to finishing. So, a bit of a promotion here for the StarCraft, rather the Falcon Paladin Hour, where we do talk about StarCraft in movies and TV shows and anime and other nerdy stuff. If you're interested in that sort of thing, just search Falcon Paladin on your podcast app and you will find it. It's a weekly podcast with myself and Samacron, who's an Australian. We have a good time with each other. We argue about stuff, we agree on things. Been going for a couple of years now, so I think we have a pretty good flow going. Anyway, another Nexus on the way from Best up north, and the Dragoons are coming on down. They don't have their upgrades yet, but they're very close to being there. And is there an Arbiter in the mix? Stasis coming in for the Arbiters, which is really useful for cutting those tank lines in half. And Vulture down. That Vulture does manage to escape up north. Throw down some Spider Mines and do some mischief on the other side of the map here. Ooh, is there nothing defending that third base at all? No cannons, no anything? Alright, well, free probe kill. And then responding Dragoons do manage to wipe him out there. One of my favorite sounds in StarCraft is the sounds of units coming in and out of cloak. And it's good. It's really good sound design. Whoever came up with that needs a gold medal. Ah, it takes me back. That sound, I don't know. All of this takes me back, but especially that sound. I don't know why. I don't know why. So, we're maxed out. Well, Best is. Sharp isn't. But Best is maxed out, which means it's time to go. Like, the longer you wait once you're maxed out, and the longer your opponent has to get maxed out themselves, attacking into this position seems like a pretty bad idea, though. This is a really, really set up and entrenched Terran. Spider-Mine does get a hit off on one of those Dragoons, trying to take down the engineering bay from this distance with their +1 attack in their range. And they at least put it into burning. We'll see if Sharp wants to repair it or not. I'm not sure that he does. But an expansion down here would be nice. I mean, if the Terran's going to sit back and turtle this hard, expanding again is not a bad idea. He's got the resources for it. Is he really going for this? All right, man, pushing on in. He's got the Arbiter in the mix. He's not throwing down. There you go. Does stasis a few of those Vultures before he gets wiped out. Right side going pretty well for the Terran. Left side not going as well for the Terran players. Zealots are getting atop of the tanks. Spider Mines are taking out some of these Protoss units. Observer needs to move up a little bit and help with that. Oh, Spider Mines are doing their jobs pretty effectively. Tank down, tank down. Still continuing to attack on in here. There are 3 tanks at the third. I think maybe attacking into the natural base would be a better thing to do, but I guess you do have the help of the Dragoons on the right side to come over here now. Tanks are still fighting. That +1 attack is helping. Yeah. Repair, not enough. Zealots in the mineral line causing some problems. Friendly fire splash is an issue there. But the Vultures and the Goliaths coming in, they do manage to clean this thing out. So that was a little bit touch and go. Some SCVs died. A lot of army died there too. White is still up in overall supply, but Sharp managed to stay alive and didn't lose a base, and that's what matters in this situation. Best decides it is time to move on out. I don't want to leave the Terran player alone for too long. Got my Arbiter, got my +1 Zealots with legs. Gonna head on over and what? I assume a Pro probably tried to come down here and expand and got killed by this Vulture. Yeah, so they're like, there's something down here we gotta kill. And there it is. As he tries to escape and actually does manage to escape here. Taking a cannon shot. Might as well take down a probe. I'm not getting home, he says, and he knows it. He's aware. All right, so pushing up. Again, I keep thinking the Terran army is pushing up these places. Nope. Just Spider Mines. Not what you're expecting there at all. Plus, is that +2 vehicle, ladies and gents? It is +2 vehicle. +1 armor is already done for these ground units. On the other side, we're looking at +1 with +2 just about to complete. Also going for Storm, which is pretty fantastic against entrenched tank positions. And once again, Best is just about maxed out, but guess what? Sharp is there now too. As he's thinking about expanding to the bottom right-hand side. Best is taking one of the top right-hand side. And we're going to try to take all of the bases on this map today. It feels like one of those things. Observer sight range being increased, which is kind of nice. I don't know, is it really necessary in PvT? It allows you to see Spider Mines a little bit further away. suppose that's a bonus of some kind, but army is here. And they are ready to go. They are 2 attack with 3 attack immediately getting started for Sharp. His upgrade timings are beautiful. And the Dragoons are pretty happy just to pick off any of these Vultures or Goliaths that come up in range of their attacks. Yeah, I kind of like it. Like what they're doing here. Again, once the tanks get in range, that's a different story. Nice stasis. Catching a bunch of those Vultures. Again, not really catching the tanks, which I think might be a mistake. Or if you take out enough of the Vultures, then the Zealots can handle the tanks no problem. It's kind of a either-or scenario right there. Again, Terran overstepping bounds just a little bit. Zealots coming on in on top of the tanks. The Spider Mine count is kind of insane, though. Storm pretty great. Getting some damage done and actually pushing the Terran army back pretty effectively. Getting a Storm on that entrenched setup position just means that Best is able to march on down and feel comfortable enough going after this. There's only 3 tanks. All of them are in varying stages of injury. The priority here is the tank. Don't worry about the Vultures as much. He's still worrying about the Vultures, and as a result, the tank is an extra couple shots off there. Vultures coming around the backside, trying to mess with these Dragoons, but it is a 150 to 120 supply, 30 supply advantage right now for the Protoss player. Defensive Matrix up on that tank. It helps him survive another couple seconds there. With this number of Dragoons out, nice Spider Mine hits and tank fire combined, wiping it out, and Best decides it's time to retreat on back. Maybe we'll cover these probes transferring over to my top right-hand base, if that's what you're into. So I like it. I like what we're seeing here out of Best. Sharp hasn't expanded for a while. He is, again, pretty happily on these 4 bases with his 70 SCVs, 75 probes. Yeah, worker count. Yeah, worker count. Zealot somehow found this command center down here, attacked it, and then forced to cancel after he was dead, which is pretty impressive. Do we have any air upgrades for the air stuff? Nope, not at all. Kind of working on shield upgrades, though. That would be nice. Is he going to try to stasis these dudes again? He's staring at him like he wants to throw a stasis down here, but he's just using the basic Arbiter attack on these Vultures to kill them, which is nice. Trying to make sure there's not a 5th base down here, and there's not, but I guess he's kind of marching up into the middle. Spider Mines are marching up into the middle. This is looking bad for Sharp. Best is pushing in that right side. And actually attacking... Oh, there is a 5th base attempt here by Sharp at the 9 o'clock position. But guess who's here? A ton of Protoss. Ton of Protoss. Find your command center. You're going to wipe it out. I mean, these are +2 Dragoons with range. At the very least, going to put it into red. It's going to be a very, very immediate repair need here. These Dragoons, they want it so bad. And in fact, they do end up getting it. Bam, sucker. Goodbye, command. Centre du commande. Push into the right side. Not really your position to do so here, Best. There's a lot of Terran, including a bunch of tanks that just went into siege mode that you could hear. Also, EMP is a concern because EMP exists. So why don't you get on out? Just threatening is fine. Vulture's trying to come into the right side. Ton of cannons defending there. Couple cannons defending here, but not necessarily as many. This is some pretty mean Vulture stuff. With the 3 attack, mind you, and the +2 armor, going to actually wipe out a lot of the probes here at the 5th base. Meanwhile, Dragoons and Zealots marching into the natural a little bit, because why not? And then maybe pushing on into this 6 o'clock position, depending on the response there. But yeah, these Vultures, not a lot of cannons around on some of these bases. Some of them are very well defended, but not all of them. And now these Vultures know they're in trouble. They're just going to kill as many probes as they can. And Best is down to 55 probes now. He had a lead. He's substantially down, but here comes the recall. Zealots on top. Storm on top of the tanks here, trying to whittle them down. Are there? Wow, a lot of Zealots went down to that combined fire. These are injured tanks, but they still do full damage. And Sharp is actually going to hold this. It turns out he might end up losing maybe a couple supply depots, maybe some Vultures, but overall the tank count is still here. Command center still exists. Is that another recall? That's another recall right on top of these units. High Templar did not get a storm off. If he had the energy to do so, I don't know. Nice job focusing down the Goliath so the Arbiter stays alive. That's pretty good stuff here. Tank down, tank alive. Tank alive. That's a huge deal. We got a +3 tank here, firing on these Dragoons from distance. Bit of a poke. Not going super well for the Dragoons now. They're completely wiped out. So 156 to 120 supply. Sharp is fighting as hard as he can. He's producing tanks and vultures at an incredibly fast rate. Meanwhile, Best has no interest in changing what's been working so far, as he's making 8 Zealots at a time, including 2 Arbiters and some Dragoons in the mix. Trying to float this command center over to the right, but I feel like the Protoss presence is a little bit too strong to do that. The Dragoons are kind of waiting for it to show up, and they got tired of waiting after 4 seconds and decided to go home. So at this stage of the game, 61 probes to 56 SCVs. He's been replacing these probes really, really well. Wow, really well. Sharp, not really making any more SCVs. He's pretty happy with the 56 workers that he has. Nice stasis. Oh, it allows the Dragoons to get some more stuff done over here. Nice scan present. Unsiege tanks versus Dragoons with 3-3. Gonna do all right, the tanks will. Unless the cloak is a problem, and the cloak is a problem. Now it's not. Taking down the Arbiter, make sure about that. Trying to tack down towards the south. You do get slowed down by the Spider Mines. Spider Mines heading on to the south here. And pretty good engagement right along here. We got Zealots on top of everything. The tanks back there are trying to fire on top of the Dragoons. A lot of cloak present, a lot of scans coming in to counter that. And I think Sharp is going to win this battle on the left side, possibly right side not going as well for the Terran player. Oh, and a recall right on top. Oh, the Spider Mines. Whoa, the recall on top of the tanks. The Spider Mine drag with that did actually wipe out a bunch of those tanks. And suddenly it's 157 to 117 supply. Best coming on down. He's going to, again, try to harass this base, but he took a lot of damage by going through most of Sharp's army at the time here, killing a ton of SCVs. He had 56 down to 52, losing a few of them here, but not crazily losing a ton of SCVs as the retreat is timely and effective. More units trying to come down to finish off this Terran player. Round two coming in. The Arbiters are ready to rock if necessary. EMP, ooh, good split on, he does split the Arbiter so an EMP doesn't ruin him. Is he even gonna get the thing off? I guess maybe he, I don't know, I didn't see an EMP there, it's kind of hard to catch, but Sharp is holding, man. Every one of these attacks that comes in, he does lose a bunch of units, but he doesn't end up losing a base. That's what's keeping him alive so far. Ton of Spider Mines. That splash damage is so good against Zealots. Not even fair how good it is. Vultures to 3-3 are fantastic too. Still pushing in additional Protoss units. Just a non-stop cavalcade of red coming at you right now, Sharp. That stasis is going to wear off fairly soon. I think the Dragoons recognize that. Once that does, these Vultures won't be able to hold for too much longer. Science Vessel to get picked off right there too. Very nicely done. The tanks unsiege. They've got detection because the Science Vessel exists. And Protoss is forced to pull on back home. That was a very studly hold out of Sharp. I'm extremely impressed by that. That was really, really, really good. Dragoons sneaking up this right side. Alright, so I mean, does this base count? I guess it does. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Protoss bases. Some of them are mined out, especially the main and the natural. And 1, 2, 3, 4 bases. I guess we count 5 in the main. So 1 base off, 1 base ahead here for the Protoss. Good place to be in a PvT. Observer picked out by the Goliath showing up here in flank attack. Surprise attack out of Best. He's coming in to wreck you. He's got 3, 2, 1 on the upgrades. Which is not as good as the 3-3 that the mech has. I gotta tell you that much. A lot of Arbiters here. High Templar sitting in the shuttle. They're harder to snipe that way for tanks anyway. Easier for Goliaths, obviously. It can be pretty scary if there are a lot of Goliaths around, but not too many here from last. So Best is up in worker count and overall army supply. His upgrades are not as good, and if he loses this game, I'm going to go ahead and blame it on the upgrade discrepancy. I don't know why these Vultures are on hold position, but it actually works for this dude. He actually stays alive for an extra 2 seconds before he gets killed by everybody else. Right side base coming in now from Best, really expanding just every few minutes here. He's got a timer in his head that says it's time to expand as long as I'm not dying. That is such a tanky position to siege into. But stasis would be pretty good. A recall? Nope. EMP says no. One stasis goes down, but still we've got 4 tanks here fighting in the mix. A lot of dead Dragoons. Goliaths do take down the Arbiter, still attacking in from the top here, and once again, Best is forced to fall back. What an absolute slugfest this game has been. So many major battles that nobody really gets a major hand or major advantage in, major hand up in. Foot up in, I don't know what I'm trying to say here. I'm mixing my metaphors. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th base happily running now for Protoss. A lot of cannons in there means vultures. A lot of vultures required to get anything done here. Especially with how narrow it is getting around to the outside and hanging out in the back, and there's no minerals back here anyway. It's difficult position. Observers in spread formation moving out across the map to see what's going on. The answer is a lot of spider mines here. The answer is not so many spider mines up along this right side, which you already know because another observer already exists. Further upgrades are now coming in for the Protoss. He's working on 2 armor and 3 shields. But yeah, the mech upgrades are what they're going to be. No air armor upgrades for the science vessels. Good EMP getting tossed down on there. High Templar just walking into the front lines. You got a storm guy. There you go. It's a good storm. Nothing really else much happening there, but that's a lot. That is a lot of Protoss. These tanks are firing on those cannons, making it a little bit more susceptible to vulture attacks later, but the tanks are gone. It's 189 to 111 supply. Trying to take a base there, not going to happen. I don't think. Too much Protoss making a beeline directly for their southern section here. Still, missile turret winning against these Arbiters, at least until the rest of the Dragoons show up. But yeah, 181 to 117 is really hard to come back from here. More EMPs, making sure the Arbiters can't do much of anything but cloak. SCVs getting killed here as they're on the front lines, and maybe a recall over here would be not too bad, but in production, 4 Dragoons at a time right now. And they are up here. They're going to try to take down this base. Again, one that I really feel like the Terran player needs. And I don't think Sharp can afford to lose this one. High ground sitting here with the Dragoons. Scanning, and Goliaths do take down the Arbiter, but there's too much Dragoon at the top of this ramp. Not for the tank, though. Not for the tank. More reinforcements coming in. So many Dragoons. They've got that +2 armor. The +3 armor is almost done, and that's your good game. Sharp taps out, and Best is your winner there in how long? 28 minutes and 5 seconds. So yeah, just an example of how you beat Terran as Protoss is you expand a whole bunch of times, out-expand them. Maybe not as fast as we've seen in the past from some players. That game, Light versus Flash, just expanded so fast, so often. You can get away with it. As long as you protect against vulture attacks, you can get away with it. So that is the deal. 18 Zealots at a time in production from Best right now. Hit that like button, by the way, if you enjoyed the cast. We're going to go ahead and finish it up from here, though. But yeah, overall, the upgrades were there for the Terran player. Allowed him to hold situations I don't think he normally would have been able to. Pretty good science vessel production, good EMPs. The Arbiters didn't do as much work, I think, as Best expected them to do, but is able to macro up. Had so many gateways up here. Again, he has 18 gateways. He can make 18 Zealots at a time, which is just too much. It's really too much. Sharp was starving for money here. Best was definitely low on cash too, but as he was maxed out, it was less of a problem. And then he recognized, okay, can't expand there. Got another army coming down this way. Didn't have much left over and tapped on out. So great job. A great job by Best. Didn't go for carriers, but a pretty effective Protoss win there anyway. Overall, the final score is going to be 27,000 points for Best, 25,000 for Sharp. Not too much of a discrepancy. Again, Sharp held his own here. He really did. Produced a whole ton of units, killed a whole ton of units, lost a whole ton of units. And that's the number there that's problematic. Structures raised, favoring the Protoss, but not by a whole ton. And then resources, again, 4,000 more gas mined, 16,000 more minerals mined, and a full 20,000 more resources spent from best in that match. That will do it. That will do it for you every time. If there's that kind of a discrepancy in a professional level game, you can tell who won. Generally tell who won based on this this here resources page. All right, fantastic stuff. Well, that is going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft Brood War Remastered. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.